need some coconut flakes, and we need some oats. Here I am back at the ranch. Let's get started with our basic oatmeal cookie recipe. I'm actually going to make a sandwich out of that first batch, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Really, really good. And the next one we are going to make with coconut, and then number 3 is going to be with Snicker Bars. So I turned my oven on to 375, and we are going to start with room temperature butter and going to whip that butter until it's really, really creamy and fluffy. So let's get started. So let's talk about the vanilla bean that we just bought. Let me get it out of the container here for you. So you'll find it to be a little bit bent because it's been sitting in the container for a while. It's very plump, almost oily, it feels, and it's bendable. And that's one of the key things that you will know how to differentiate an old vanilla bean or not. The fresh one will always be bendable. So I like to straighten out my vanilla bean as much as I can. Hold it on the top. I cut my end off and then just scrape out the vanilla. And now I'm going to add 3 eggs. Just a little tip here on the side, if you don't bake much, make sure you check the date of your baking powder, because if it's old or expired, it will no longer produce the carbon dioxide that we need to rise our baking goods. Add a teaspoon of baking powder, 1/3 of a cup of flour. I'm just going to whisk together my flour and my baking powder. And now I'm going to incorporate the star of the night, which is our oats. I'm adding 4 cups, by the way. I like to incorporate them with a spatula. My parchment paper always has a tendency to fly up, so I'm just going to add a little dabble of butter on each corner and just basically glue it down to avoid that. So I like to use a little ice cream scooper here to portion out my cookies. I just gently go over them with a rolling pin. So off in the oven we go. And here we go. I'm using my homemade peanut butter. I'm gonna put a link to that video in the description below if you're interested. And now we are just going to top this off. Now you gotta admit this is pretty tempting, isn't it? So let's move on to our oatmeal coconut cookies. For my basic oatmeal cookie recipe, I used 4 cups, and now I'm only using 3, and I'm going to add 1 cup of the coconut that we just bought. And again, I'm going to fold this in by hand. I like to turn them into little balls. Look at this. Rows and rows of happy. You ready? Look at that. You can really smell the coconut. Are you ready for the oatmeal Snicker bar cookie? So I already whipped our butter, and I'm only going to add 1/4 cup of sugar. I think this is plenty because we have all this chocolate going in. And again, I'm using 3 cups of oats. So this is all ready for the oven. Again, 375 degrees. So here we are. I'm gonna let this cool off for a minute, and then I will turn it around and cut it up in little squares, and then I will show this to you. You can see the chocolate oozing out of there. Look at that. So that's it for today. Thank you for spending the day with me. I'm gonna watch the sunset with my boys, and then I will go in and clean up my kitchen. And I look forward to hearing from you in the comments, and which cookie you're going to try, and what your thoughts are, and what you enjoyed, and if you have any questions. So I will see you soon here again. Bye. Good night. Bye-bye.